Hey guys, welcome back to our Japan Talk series. In this series, we take you on a beautiful walk through Japan, and while you guys are enjoying the scenery, we're going to talk to you about some aspect of life in Japan or Japanese culture. So for today's walk, we are taking another walk through beautiful Kyoto, so I hope you guys enjoy the scenery as you listen to today's discussion. So today, we are talking about why Japan is the best country for long-term expats. Now, we already know Japan is a beautiful country. It's a great place to travel to. It's a great place to live. But what are the things that really separate Japan? If you're looking to be a long-term expat, if you're looking to live here for the next 10 years, if you're looking to live somewhere for the next 20 years, if you're looking for a new country to move to and retire and just live the rest of your life, what is it about Japan that separates it and makes it truly great? I'm going to give you the top 5 reasons why I think Japan is the best country for long-term expats. So let's get into this right now. So for me, the number one reason why Japan is a really great country to consider if you want to live here for the rest of your life, the healthcare system here. The healthcare system in Japan, it's one of the best in the world. It's consistently ranked top 10. And I think it has a really interesting structure. Japan basically has a system where every single person that is either a citizen or is a resident in Japan, everybody is paying into the same medical system. And basically what you are going to pay each month, it's related to both your age and it's also related to how much money you earn. So if you're somebody who doesn't earn a lot of money, you're not going to be paying a lot into the system. And as you get older, your financial burden in the system actually greatly decreases over time and more is covered. In a lot of private insurance around the world, when you get older, it gets more expensive. And normally as we're getting older, as you move to retirement, your financial means kind of decrease. So Japan really understands that. And so when you become older in Japan, your financial burden and what you have to actually pay into the system, it decreases because it's expected that your income would decrease as well. But the great thing about the healthcare system is, obviously it's really, really high quality care. It's high quality facilities, high quality doctors. It's ranked in the top 10 in the world. It's accessible to every single person in the country. Everybody has health insurance. And the great thing is when you have this type of system that is basically a single payer system, everybody's into it, the government can regulate the cost of healthcare services. So they essentially cap prices on medications, on services, on doctor visits, and everything is extremely low. Let's say, for example, if I were to go in the United States and I were to get an MRI, for example, I would probably have to pay about $5,000 out of pocket if I didn't have health insurance. Now, if I was going to go to a hospital in Japan and get the same exact test done, an MRI, and I didn't have health insurance, the cost would be only around $100, even without the insurance. And the reason is because all of the prices are regulated by the government, and it gets even better. If you have, a year where maybe you have a surgery or something and you pay a lot into the medical system and it's a financial burden, you can just go down to the ward office and, very often the government will cover those large expenses and will just refund you that money. Like, they're very open-minded. They're very reasonable here. Overall, I've had a really good experience with healthcare here, and I do think it is one of the big benefits. The second benefit that I want to talk about is the Japanese pension system. A lot of countries, if you were to move there as an expat and you were to be there as a non-citizen, you would be basically foregoing, whatever your pension program, back in your home country. For me, as a U.S. citizen, we have a social security system. That's basically our national pension system. But if I'm not living there and paying into that, and I'm living somewhere else as an expat, I kind of lose that opportunity. Now, there's a lot of countries where you can live as an expat where you wouldn't have the opportunity to be a part of their national pension system. But in Japan, you do. Everybody who is a resident here and all citizens, you are going to be enrolled in the Japanese pension system, and you'll pay into that system. And if you get 10 years vested into the system, you will have a retirement pension for the rest of your life, whether you're living in Japan or not. And that's kind of cool. So, even if you come here for 10 years and you pay into the system, you know that you're going to have a little something paying out to you in retirement. And if you don't pay in those 10 years in full and you decide to leave early, they'll cash you out and they'll give you a lump sum and they'll just send it to your bank account wherever it might be overseas. So overall, it's a really cool system. For me personally, I'm much more into private investing than I am into national pensions, but it is a safety net and it is a benefit that you wouldn't get living in a lot of countries. So it is actually quite nice. Then the next thing I want to talk about is residency. A lot of countries that you can move to, it can be really difficult to become a permanent resident. The path to feeling like you have permanency in the country and feeling like you don't have to go through, the whole visa grind every year on a yearly basis. It can be really, really challenging in a lot of places. But in Japan, they have a pretty streamlined system, and depending on your level of qualifications and your background, it can kind of determine how quickly you could become a permanent resident. You can become a permanent resident here between 3 to 10 years, depending on what your skills and background are. But basically, for anyone, if you come to work in Japan and you work 10 years here consistently, you will have the right to become a permanent resident. And, as a permanent resident, you can do pretty much anything, within the country. You can live here forever. You can do essentially almost everything that a regular, citizen in Japan does. So it is a really nice benefit, and just having that permanence, and then it's like Japan. It's not some place at your home, and then it's some place that you can actually call home, rather, and you don't feel like you're an expat anymore. So that is a very real possibility here. A ton of people come to Japan, they pursue permanent residency, they get it. And they have a nice new long-term home, and I think that's really great, especially if you want to live somewhere forever. You don't want to be chasing visas every year and never know about your status in the place that you're living. The next thing that is a really big deal if you're looking to settle somewhere long time is something about land ownership. And in Japan, you can own land. You can own an apartment. You can own a condo. You can own a house. You can own anything that you wish to own here in Japan. And a lot of countries, it is not like that. I previously lived in Thailand before coming to Japan. And in Thailand, you cannot buy land. You cannot buy a home unless it is, 51% owned by a Thai. And the only thing that you can really buy there is a condominium. So you really just don't have the same level of rights in a lot of places. But in Japan, if you want to go and buy a patch of land and you want to build your own home, you want to start from scratch, no problem. If you want to go and you want to buy a house that already exists, no problem. It's totally up to you. You can come here, you can buy your dream home, you can buy your dream patch of land, and you can create whatever it is that you want to create. So if you're living here for the long term, knowing that you can purchase a home and live there forever, or you can purchase land and build on it as you wish, it's a really great benefit. And the last thing that I want to talk about that is really important if you're coming to settle in a country for the long term is business ownership. That is another great thing about Japan. Again, many countries, if you go there as an expat, it will be very highly regulated according to what industry you can work in. Oftentimes, business ownership is very regulated. You may not be able to own a business outright in a lot of countries. Thailand, again, is like this. If you want to open up a business in Thailand, even if it's your business, even if you've paid every single cent for that business, you can only own 49% of it. A Thai person would have to own the other 51%, but in Japan, it is not like that. You want to come and start a business? You can start any business that you want. You can own it all. You can even open your own business and self-sponsor your own visa. I mean, it is really wide open. And for me, if you want to be somewhere long-term, this is something that is really important. So at this point, I want to make this a conversation. If you guys were going to move to another country and you were going to settle there long term, what would be your top 3 things? What are the top 3 things that you would look for? Would it be healthcare? Would it be like social safety nets like pension? Would it be just overall safety? Would it be weather, climate? What is it that you guys would choose for something, not just a place to visit, not just a place where I want to go live for 2 or 3 years, but to be your home for the rest of your life? For you, what would be your top 3 factors? And as well, I want to ask you guys for future videos, what topics would you like me to cover? Is there a question you have? Is there some area you would like me to cover about Japanese culture, about life in Japan, or just being an expat in general? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you find that you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and smash that like button, and please consider subscribing to the channel. I will catch you guys in the next video. See ya.